Hello, everyone. We are live, and welcome to our little session and little talk about how to access English learning resources. I'll tell a little bit about myself. So my name is Rebecca Scaris, and I'm the coordinator, the video coordinator at Immigrant Services Calgary. Currently, I'm working on the Smart Tips series. You have probably seen my face on here before, as I've done several Facebook Lives. The project's been going for about a year now, over a year now. And it's basically, we make a bunch of videos that are stories that include newcomers about topics that newcomers want to learn about Alberta. The videos are in English, and they're also translated into 7 other languages at this point. So they're also in Arabic, Chinese, French, Hindi, Spanish, Tigrinya, and Farsi. They're coming in other languages hopefully soon. They're just helpful resources to help newcomers. So today, we are going to be focusing on how to access English resources, that video, and it came out a while ago, but I do know a lot about this topic, and I'm excited to share about that. Because I'm also a Link instructor. So I've been a Link instructor for about 4 years, 5 years, I don't know, a while. And I've also been teaching ESL and newcomers for over 10 years. So I'm going to start by showing you the video. I'm going to show the video first, and then we're going to start talking with our guest. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, we're just going to start by showing the video. So, what?
Thanks for coming in to the parent-teacher interview today. I have some concerns about Hannah's grades. I don't think you understand. We might need to get her a tutor.
أنا خاف تمزب بلس كتم هارت عب كلاسنا وهاني نقرأ كلا.
Hi,
Hi, welcome to the English Assessment Center. How can we help you today?
I want to improve my English, but I don't know what options I have. I looked online and saw that there are classes I can take. Can you help me?
For sure. Actually, good timing because this is John. He's one of our language counselors and he can give you more information about that.
Hi, I'm John.
Samuel.
So, Samuel, you have a lot of options to choose from to improve your English, but if you want to take a formal class like Link or ESL, you're going to need to have your English level assessed. So the first step would be to book a time for that, and afterwards we can discuss your options.
Thank you. Can you book me for next week, please?
The Canadian Language Benchmarks, also called CLBs, are used to assess English language and literacy skills in Canada, with benchmarks going from 1 through 8. A person at benchmark 1 has little or no English skills, and the person at benchmark 8 has advanced English skills. The English assessment consists of 4 sections: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The reading and writing sections are written, while listening and speaking sections are verbal. English assessments are free of charge for permanent residents and Canadian citizens.
So we've went over your assessment results. Do you have any questions?
What learning options do you think are best for me?
Depending on your needs, there are formal and informal options available, offered in full-time or part-time, in person or online. So if you want to work while you study, you can do that.
Oh, that's perfect. That's good.
First, let's take a look at some formal learning options.
Okay.
Language instruction for newcomers, also called LINK, is an English training program for permanent residents. It focuses on speaking, reading, writing, and listening, and helps you gain the knowledge you need to settle in Canada. A referral from an assessment center is required to register for LINK classes. English as a Second Language, or ESL, is a learning option available to everyone. It also focuses on the 4 areas of learning and is usually intended for newcomers with a benchmark of 5 or above. If you need to meet English requirements for post-secondary studies, some post-secondary institutions offer classes at a cost. These courses are called English for academic purposes. Let's take a look at some options for informal language learning. Many community organizations offer informal drop-in activities like reading clubs and conversation classes. Your local library is a great place to start with resources and programs for both children and adults. Other places you might look include immigrant serving agencies, religious institutions, and community centers. So those are some English learning options for you to choose from.
Thank you. That's great. Is there any financial help available while I study?
To see if you qualify for financial support, you can visit the Alberta Work Centre or your language school. Depending on your eligibility, supports may include childcare, transportation, or even a living allowance.
That's great. I will call the school referred to me, and hopefully I will start classes soon.
Excellent. Best of luck.
Thank you. Anna, I spoke with your teacher, and I think we need to talk.
Okay, so that's like one of my favorite videos I think we made because it's kind of cute. It has like the child tricking her father into in their interview with their teacher. I don't know. I think that's really cute and probably does happen because I know that a lot of newcomers rely on their children to translate for them. So I'm sure it does happen. But yeah. So anyway, I am going to introduce. So we are here today with Emily Guo from CLARC, and she's going to be sharing a little bit about herself, and then we're going to talk a little bit about testing. So I'm just going to open our presentation. And Emily, do you want to introduce yourself while I start?
That's good. Thank you, Becca. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad to be with Becca today here, and excellent job on that video, by the way. I just hope everyone who has just joined us, we're out there who's listening, is healthy and safe and doing all right. So a little bit about myself. My name is Emily Guo, and I am a newcomer language specialist. I, along with other assessors, provide English assessment. And right after that, on the same day, we provide your test result and referral letter, all the information that could help in the best way to the best of our abilities. In some cases, we also have educational counseling services, which would better get you based on your educational and working background experiences on how to find or navigate your pathway career-wise here in Canada. All right.
What did you think about our video? Did it have a lot of information?
Absolutely. I really liked it. I hope others who just watch this enjoy it as much as I did. It's interesting and is very realistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still really like the kid. The best part. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about testing now. Yeah, so I'll just let me know when you want me to change the slide.
Yeah, I think we can go to the next page. Thank you. All right. So a little bit background about who we are and what services we provide here. So we are now known as CLARC, as the name clearly indicates. We provide language assessment and referral services. So this is also a test center for you to get your Canadian language benchmark result. And lots of detailed information actually have already been mentioned in that video. Yeah, anything you would like to add on, Becca?
Sorry, I'm muted. No, I mean, what is assessment and what is referral?
Right, so Canadian language benchmark, which is, as you can see here, CLB, basically you will be assessed for 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And for the referral part is more for those newcomers who'd like to improve their English, or who like to take another course in a community college, or who's asked to do this just because their potential employers would like to see the proof of their strong English as needed. So after the test, if the person is in need of improving his or her English, we're going to match her level of English to the most appropriate level of English classes, which is here we can see into the link program, language instruction for newcomers to Canada. And on top of that, we do have information sessions held every month. So hopefully we can walk you through a better understanding and what to expect about the test itself. And you can also follow us on Instagram. If you find ASCYYC, you will see tons of test prep tips we're sharing with you. And yes, because of it, this is a very difficult time and we're living in a new normal right now. The whole world feels completely turned upside down in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak. There's so much uncertainty. So we have moved pretty much all of our services online. And we're also trying our best to cope with the situation, and knowing that we have been focused on keeping our service up and running, and we're here for you. Make sure that we have prepared all the services with understanding and support that the clients, deserve through this crisis. So as I've mentioned, the information session, it's available once a month, and it's available in English, Spanish, and Mandarin. And during the session, you will know everything you need to know about the test, how to prepare it, and how to perform the best way you could. So for the main services here, we used to have English and French assessments, but at this moment, there's only one specific type of the test available, which is called CLBPT. It's the placement test. And right after the test, you will get the referral letter or the information you need. And some counseling sessions would be available based on the level of the client. And there will be follow-ups after months, meaning our staff, our colleagues are going to call the client to make sure if there's anything else we could help after the assessment and after the session.
I have a question. Can they choose where they want to go? Or do you just choose the referral, the place you want to send them? Or can they choose like 1 or 2 locations?
That's an excellent question. So like I mentioned, right after the test, on the same day, our assessor on that day is going to have a one-on-one chat with the client who took the test. Like in the past, before the outbreak of the pandemic, we would encourage the clients to consider factors, metrics about geography, the location, if there's any school will provide the best level of the client for the client, which means the client could actually choose from 2, 3, or even more options, which school is closer, is more convenient for them. But right now, since everything's online, we do ask the clients if he or she has any preference. It could be based on reputation, or maybe the client has a friend, family members who's studying in that school. So the client might prefer that school based on the result or the benchmark, we call that, of the client. Did I answer your question?
It did, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
So yeah, if you would fall into any of these categories, if you are a permanent resident or a protected person, or your status actually will be approved as long as there's a UCI number on your landing paper, or you become a Canadian citizen, you will be eligible, which means you will get the services for free. From the test to the link studies, but with one exception: if the person is a Canadian citizen or the person has scored a really high level, there will be an alternative option, which is called English ESL classes, which is different from link. Yeah, I think we can go to the next one.
I see, like, on this slide, though, you say special needs accommodation is offered. What special needs accommodation is offered?
Right, another good question. So we do have an expert on a certain special needs from the clients. If the client has required any, let's say, with hearing aid or extra help, we would try our best to accommodate. And we also tried to send our assessors to another center, Center for Newcomers before, but unfortunately it got shut down very quickly because of the worsened situation of COVID. So if the client doesn't have a laptop or a computer, we used to, and we will in the future, to take that into consideration. So there's going to be a site, an off-site office. We're going to meet the clients there, and with extra staff who speaks their first language as well. So hopefully this could ease, the nervous or any negative feelings about this test.
Or barriers, I guess, yeah.
Yes.
It sounds like you guys are doing a lot. That sounds good, that you're thinking about these people, but there's also COVID involved, and
yes,
it's a hard time right now.
Right. So here comes the second piece we love to present you in this afternoon, which is CLARC's new online English test registration website. So compared to before the COVID, which you need to either call us or come in to book your test, right now you have another choice, which is just sitting at home, and trying to just share your information with us, the basic information, and take your time, look at the instructions and the samples we provided online, just to complete the registration form by attaching the consent forms at the same time. So Becca, if I may ask, would you please take us to this website just to give a better taste of the actual website? You're muted, sorry.
I know, I was like, just 1 second.
Problem. Thank you so much.
So this is the online
Awesome.
registration.
Yeah. So let's have a look. Basically, it's super straightforward, and we tried our best to make it user-friendly. So if you can just go through all the questions one by one.
Yeah. Pretend
Start
I'm a
with-
newcomer. How about that?
Yes, great. Oh, excellent. So as you can see, there's like the site that there's a small window popping up. So the beauty of the website is we also have a strong technical team online during our working hours. So if you have any uncertainty, any question, you can actually type your question right there and ask them. They will try their best to get back to you as soon as possible.
I like this. You can be like, I need help.
Thank you.
I don't know what PR is.
All right. So the first question would be immigrant status.
My immigrant status is I'm a Canadian. I gotta stop clicking there.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Canadian citizen. Oh, I'm a Canadian citizen. So I will select Canadian citizen. Okay.
Oh, nice choice. So if you are a Canadian citizen and if you were born in Canada, you will be eligible for a fee-based, meaning you need to pay for this test. And the best person to contact will be David, one of our assessors. And here's all of his contact information. And let's try to find, yes, that would be the
Maybe I'm a permanent resident. Oh,
yeah. Thank you. There we go. So it follows by some other questions. Have you taken a CLB test before?
I used to live in Montreal and I took one before.
All right, let's have a look.
So
yes, that will be yes, in a different city.
In a different city, okay.
Yep. I like these scenarios because it's quite tricky. All right, so that means once we have received the consent forms, you attach along with this registration form, we're going to run our system and we will have a look. We'll be able to pull through all of the latest information and we'll decide if the test you took before was 2 years ago or if you had completed any link classes before. If it's within 2 years, then great news, you don't have to be reassessed. But unfortunately, if it was 2 years ago or even longer, then yes, you will need to take the reassessment.
Does that mean my benchmarks will be back towards whatever I get tested on? So like if I got CLB 5555, but then I do the test again because it's been 2 years, I get 3335, I am again 3335.
That is a possibility. It really depends on during this 2-3 years what you've done. If you kept working and you've got this environment, this workplace or this social circle you kind of exposed yourself into, your English might be improved. And it's also possible that you didn't really use English at all. So yes, that's kind of why we need to make sure that your level is going to be reflected as it is.
So does the test cancel my benchmarks from before?
It will, we will take the recent benchmark result into consideration and place you.
Okay.
Keep the questions coming. I really like.
Well, I even know as a link instructor, I get confused because I'll have students that will leave for 1 year and go back to China, go back to their home country. Right. And they'll come back and they'll be like, well, my benchmark is this. And I'm like, but you are definitely speaking lower than you were before because for 1 year you didn't speak English.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wish it wasn't 2 years. I kind of wish it was a 1 year thing. But I always wonder if it cancels because I have a student that I taught in 2017 and then she quit link classes and she came back in 2020 in November and she had already achieved 3333 and she's in my level 3 class again. So because her benchmarks actually went down. So yeah, so it's interesting, like, does the test cancel out your previous benchmarks? Yes, I guess if it's within, like, if it's after 2 years. Yeah.
That's decent.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe if we have more clients like this in the future, you can make sure you give them enough homework for a year.
1 year of homework, exactly. Okay, yeah, so I guess then after they fill in their name and everything.
Yes, if we can go back a little bit right there. Okay, so you could see the red words, the words in red, document 1 and document 2. Yeah, so that's where the documents actually are embedded. So what you need to do is to download these 2 consent forms, because without the consent forms, we could not assess you online.
Okay.
And here's a list of the screening questions, meaning we need to, thank you, yes. And if we just keep going, we need to make sure that you actually have the proper device that could support you for the online English test, meaning a laptop or a computer with a camera, the webcam, and also the microphone on it. So we should be able to see you and hear you just like this. And then check 2 more boxes. I've read and agreed all of the conditions, and the next one as well, which is very frequently missed. And you just need to type in your name, put in the date there, and insert your signature. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm aware that not following any of the above conditions will lead to the test being terminated by the assessor. Very high level English. So that means if you don't have a computer, or you start talking to someone during your test, or your children are helping you, your test will be canceled, right?
Yes and no. If there's if you've got some challenges during the test and then you don't think you can carry on, and there's a supportive family member right there, and very interesting. Sometimes it can be the client kid. We've got lots of 7-year-old, 12-year-olds technician, like experts, who stood by and who were really helpful. So yes, your family members could be there, but just to help you to get around, to navigate with the instructions, not the test itself, of course. And if you find it's difficult to fill in the form, you can just find the Adobe sign tutorial and another red word here, and you will see the sample signings. And
there's 2 forms.
Yes, there are 2 forms, thank you. Or if you have a printer at home, where you can even use the library to print it out and just to send us the photocopy of your signed forms, whichever ways is the best for you. Please make sure you also attach these 2 forms at the end after you answer all of these questions. Yeah,
right
so
here, right?
File, exactly here. Thank you.
So choose your file and it will open.
You'll be very helpful to make sure where you downloaded it, like which folder and
name it, what you name it.
Yeah, just to make sure you upload the right forms as well. And that's it.
Why do you ask if they have 8 years of education in your home country?
Oh, excellent question. So this will be a difference for the type of the test the client will get. So normally in the past, again, we would have a literacy screener, meaning the client's going to start with more basic test for about 15 minutes. But right now, it's going to be, if the person has less than 8 years of education, the person's only going to get listening and speaking assessment. Very observant.
So then it just asks you all these questions that are like the consent form, like what you have to have. So if you're like, no, I have no computer, you probably can't do an at-home test, right?
Yes, and it's not probably a great idea to go to your friend's place because of COVID. So if that's the case, we would kindly ask you to wait and At the same time, we're going to share some learning resources with the client. After talking on the phone, we're going to send an email to tell the client that client's going to be on the wait list for the future test, where we can find the proper place. And when the time.
If I try to push send, will it send with, oh, so it says, please note all fields. So I'm sure this happens sometimes. You need to fill in everything. So if you don't put every box, it will not let you send.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you have to upload the files as well in order to send?
Yes, please.
Okay. So if they don't upload, then they're not sending. Yeah. Okay. I wish I could show the end screen, but I don't want to upload a bunch of stuff and send it to you guys. Yeah. Okay. That's great.
It's been very helpful. Thank you, Becca.
You're welcome. I'm just going to go back to our PowerPoint slideshow. I think it's here. Yeah. Okay. Are you plugging in your headphones? Can you hear me? What is the test?
I'm not sure if it's.
Wow, you're so much clearer.
Thank you. So yes, like we've discussed earlier, please make sure you have a proper device, meaning there's no phone, no iPad. Those two devices are not accepted, unfortunately. So make sure there's a camera and also a microphone. And again, the test is about 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. All right. So after the test, we're going to walk you through how to read the test report or the benchmark.
Next slide.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is me actually. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about learning English and some advice I often give students and yeah, ways to learn. So why is it hard to learn English? Well, it's because number one, your brain has to change to learn English. It actually has to change the way it works. So that's hard, of course, learning any language, because there's a lot of culture built into language. So even just the way you think is different. It requires consistent, focused practice. That means you have to keep studying all the time, right? And that's hard to do sometimes, right? Sometimes you don't feel like you're progressing as fast as you want, you're not as good as you want to be, and you stop studying because you get down, right? So sometimes that happens. Everything from the grammar to the written alphabet may be completely different than your first language. So Tigrinya, Amharic, Hindi, Arabic, Chinese, these all have totally different alphabets and grammar structures. So of course, learning a completely new alphabet is hard. It's definitely hard. And English has a lot of different sounds in it because it's from a lot of different languages pulled together. So it's difficult to learn. There's also, you're busy, you're tired, right? I have a lot of students that they're working full-time jobs and they have 3 children and they're trying to study English at night as well. So it's understandable if you're busy or you're tired. If you're tired, you're not learning as quickly because your brain is not in the learning brain. So it's really tired and it's just thinking about getting rest and getting what your body needs. And English is not what it needs. So if you're really tired, then you're not going to learn English as quickly. It's also maybe you just don't have clear goals or motivations of why you're learning English. So often, like with children, for example, if someone tells them, like their mom, learn English, or when you were in school and people tried to force you to learn English, were you very interested? Probably not, because someone was telling you that you had to learn English. It wasn't your own motivation. So if you have clear motivation and you have goals and why are you doing this, it's easier to learn English. So here are some ways to study English. I have broken it into speaking and writing because you produce these skills. You put these skills out and they're more difficult. You will notice that your speaking and writing might be lower than your reading and listening. So speak English at meals with your family, even just for 15 minutes. Like just take some conversation questions like this, put them into a jar and talk about them. What did you do today? What's your favorite food? You can make them very simple and just talk for a short time. Often your children will learn English faster than you. So it might be easy to use them as a resource to learn English from. Make fun crafts to practice your writing. So it's something you can do with your children or your family as well. So something like making Christmas cards, right? You could write messages to everyone. That would be using English and learning the culture of what do you write in an English Christmas card? How long do you write for? Do you write a whole message? Yeah, you can learn that kind of stuff. You can make it fun. You can do art with it. Keep a diary or a journal and write about your day every night before you go to bed. Just write a few sentences. Today I went to the grocery store and I met a friend. I had fun. You can use very simple sentences or you can write a whole diary. It's also a great way to show your progress because you can see, oh, like 1 year ago I was writing one sentence, but now I can write 10 sentences easily. So it's a good way to show how you're doing. Do you have anything to add, Emily? You can jump in anytime.
I love all of this.
You love these ideas?
Absolutely. And it's so Christmassy right now and it's a fabulous idea. And also it helps the environment in a way. So just don't buy tons of cars, DIY, make it by yourself and also be creative. I particularly like the idea of talking to the significant ones, your family members, just 10, 15 minutes a day. It's not really that realistic or enjoyable for the parents to switch completely from their first language to into English each time when they interact with the kids. It's not really possible, but instead just to set 10 minutes aside, and it can be during the meal on the dining table or after having a game. Make it more fun and interactive. And that 10 or 15 minutes every day is going to be guaranteed, and I'm pretty sure you will see the progress very soon.
Yeah, and there's lots of games too. So like, I don't know if you guys know Taboo or Would You Rather is like a choosing game that there's a lot of really weird questions. So you can make it fun for your family. Yeah,
absolutely.
But it's important to find ways that are enjoyable for you, or else probably you will not like studying English.
Nope.
Exactly. So these are some reading and listening ideas to learn English. So one is read together with your children or tell each other stories verbally. So you can try to create stories. And that's actually really hard to do when you first start speaking English, is like being creative and explaining things and describing is actually very high level English. So it's good practice and it's fun to create stories with your children. You can also learn from the children's books. You can learn some vocabulary and yeah. Another one is listening to the radio or podcasts on the way to work or school. Yeah, that's what I mean. Working English into your life. So in some way that you don't have to make it like a chore or something you have to do. Oh, I didn't do my 15 minutes of listening to the radio today. Well, you can work that into your life. So you take the train every day to work or you drive to work, listen to English during that. You can find music that you really love and learn the lyrics. That's good for pronunciation, but it's also good for learning slang and a lot of words you might not hear in daily life. Yeah, so that's a good way to learn listening. And then you can also, of course, read books. Most libraries have a free free ESL section. So that's like books that are actually written for people that are learning English, because normal English books are quite high level. So there's actually a section usually, and I know the Calgary Public Library has a section in every one of their libraries for English. You can also do audiobooks. So that is kind of a combination. You could read the book while listening to it, or you could listen to it. There's lots of online free services where you can listen to the book. I believe the library also has an audiobook section. So that's another choice. And then podcasts. Podcasts are amazing. There are 100,000 million of them on every topic. You could find one that is interesting for you, and yeah, and listen to it while you're on the way to work, when you're exercising, when you're doing something. So you don't need to try and fit it into your life. Anything you want to add? Okay. So like I said, podcasts. There's actually a podcast app on Apple products that you can add, and there's a bunch of free podcasts on there. There's also online, you could just Google podcasts and a topic you're interested in, and you can find. Emily, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I think basically to recap what you've mentioned is it's not easy to keep it up with something. Just it's all about repetition, the repeated actions day in and day out. If you think about anything, it's not just the learning English that's difficult. It's pretty much everything. Let's say if you decide to eat healthy, and that takes actions. And I know like motivation is a great thing, but I think what's more important here is discipline. And just ask yourself if, well, I think motivation is more like short-term gain, and discipline can be a long-term, a short-term pain, but it actually guides you to get the long-term gain versus the
Do you mean
short
like
term.
making good habits and that kind of
Absolutely,
stuff?
and build it based on your interest. Like just ask yourself what really interests you, and just make it a sustainable way. Like you can actually push yourself or inspire yourself to keep going with it. So I love the be interactive and creative point from you just mentioned. So thinking about the bedtime story, that's an excellent example. Instead of just you read the book, can you maybe do a little bit extra work beforehand, like maybe find that story with audio or even the video on YouTube or online, and then practice it, and just to, try to imitate the storyteller. You can improve your pronunciation, the intonation, or just try to be expressive, and you can actually act out that story with your kids, maybe after first time reading. Yeah, so I would really encourage everyone here to think about what really interests you. And sometimes, very often, it could be connected with the one you love. For your kids or for your partners, you can actually enjoy this together just for fun. And for the podcast, I absolutely agree. It's pretty much all for free. And I'm using the podcast myself. Just trying to stay away from the news lately. It's just so depressing. But from here, you can find all the topics you are actually interested. And also maybe another thing I like to add here is to reflect. So keeping a journal is one way, and also try to just give it a pause after a minute or two once you've listened, and then try to repeat it with your own words. It can be a great thing for your short-term memory. It could be, you can even record yourself after you repeated it, and then compare it with original audio. Yeah, so think about your scenario where you are. If you're a parent, what you can do with you've already kept doing. And if you are traveling here, you kind of stuck, you can actually use all of these free resources It can be books, it can be podcasts, and enjoy the local library. It's free and you've got tons of resources there.
Yeah, it does. I like that. I like the reflection part. Like there's like a YouTuber that every time she reads a book, she writes a book report about it. Because she felt like it was too fast to just like consume a book, like read a book and then be done. And she wanted to like really go through like what she thought about it and that. So that's also like really good to like listen to a podcast and after kind of like maybe you talk to a friend about it, or there's also groups online where they talk about the podcast, like chats and that kind of stuff. So you could also do that or watch videos about it. Yeah, there's so many options.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is watching TV. I actually had, there's a coworker that told me he completely learned all his English from watching TV in his country.
Wow.
Cool. I mean, I think you have to do that from when you're a child. Because I think if I just watch French TV every day, I won't become fluent in French. Unless I reflect, I do things with it. So in Alberta, there's actually a bunch of free channels. If you buy a digital antenna, I think you get, depending where your building faces, where your house is, I don't know, it's not completely set in stone. It's not everyone gets all the channels, but when I lived downtown, I got 7 free channels and they were like CTV, like global, so all the main channels. But if you want to watch TV shows, there are so many subscription services now. There's Netflix, there's Disney Plus, there's Sundance Now, there's Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
There are so many. So if you want and you have the money, you can also do that. If you just want to watch free videos, then there are tons on YouTube, right? So it's just what you want to do. If you want to spend money, then okay, go ahead. But if you don't have the money, there's free options. But for building your vocabulary and learning new phrases and that, it's always good to repeat. Watch the same movie 2 times, write down some new words and look them up. And then the second time, maybe you understand them the second time. It's good to try and use those words in some way. So put them into sentences or try to remember during the day, I want to try and say that word sometime today, right? So just try to work them into your life in some way. If you don't do that kind of active using of the vocabulary, it will be harder for you to remember and it will just kind of pass you by. So that's one way to use TV and movies.
100%. And just to bring back that reflection, that idea. So in a similar way, I would, just don't call me crazy, I would say, what's your favorite TV show? That actually the Sherlock Holmes is wonderful idea here because it's short, it's limited episodes and seasons compared to Grey's Anatomy. I really doubt how much can you learn from that? I don't know, 17, 18 seasons is kind of crazy.
I mean, you can learn a lot of medical vocabulary.
That's for sure. That's true. But focus on your favorite one, maybe 1 or 2, and watch it for 3 times. It could be the equal time with, a really lengthy one. So what I'm trying to say here is to, again, as long as you've watched it for 3-5 times, I'm pretty sure you will learn the plot, the story lines by heart. And at this point, I want you to give it a pause, just like when you listen to the podcast. So because for the show, what exactly would happen for the next action, the next scenario, what would the actor or actress say, and try to reflect it. What would you say in that scenario, in that situation, right? And then you play it, and then you would just, so there's like maybe an aha moment. You would know, actually, maybe I can use another way to express it, express myself, if I were in that situation. So that's kind of pause it, reflect it by yourself, and then compare it, and then you will know.
Make your own.
Exactly.
Make your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That producing, you got to produce things. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit faster because I think we only have 10 minutes. So attend one of the many free conversation classes. This was mentioned in the video as well. So there's many organizations offer free online conversation classes, as well as various religious churches, mosques, that kind of stuff, and community organizations. Some examples are, we actually have conversation circles on Monday from 3 to 4:30 p.m. The Calgary Public Library has some on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the afternoon and evening. And there are tons. Like if you just look up free conversation classes in Calgary, you will find many. Usually you just need to register online. And as it is COVID time, most of them are, or 99.9, are online right now. So you just join on Zoom or whatever platform they're using, and you just talk to other newcomers. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. Not everyone has money to take English classes. Link classes are free, but what if you're a citizen, or what if you have a working visa, and you still want to study English? Because for working visas, you often need to improve your English so that you can continue in Canada. There are low cost or free classes. So again, they're offered by churches, community groups, immigrant organizations, but they don't give any certification. So they are just for practicing English and improving English. They don't give you any CLB level or ESL level. They're just for studying English as an interest. So some examples are TIES, which is an organization. I believe it's teaching, I don't remember the acronym now.
It's the Immigration Education Society.
What is the T for, though?
The.
Teaching? The. Okay. So yeah, they actually have ESL classes for anyone, and they're drop-in intermediate classes, and they're $200 a month. So if you know that ESL classes from like colleges and that are quite expensive, sometimes in the thousands of dollars for a month.
Yeah.
So this is actually quite low cost. They used to have different levels, but I guess on their website when I looked today, this is the price they had. And then there's various churches and mosques across the city that offer English classes. Yeah. And then the last thing, I guess, is study independently online. Sometimes I personally do not like this way of studying. I like being in a class and having a teacher and or working one-on-one with a teacher. But there are thousands of websites that cover everything from grammar to idioms to watching videos to, there's a lot of YouTubers that do English studying. There's even one in Calgary. I can't remember his name, but he has a whole bunch of videos too about Canada, and he speaks really slowly, which is good. So some examples are ESL Lab, which is mainly for listening and vocabulary, all things grammar, learning about grammar, but it also has some activities for speaking, and 5-Minute English. So it has some topics. I believe they're like news stories, and you just kind of do a little activity with them. So there are so many websites like this. So you can study independently by yourself as well, especially during this COVID time when maybe your class is only 1 hour or something a week. You might add some of this in. Yeah. Oh, not my last slide. E-learning. So we're not encouraging you to pay money to any of these or anything, but there are many e-learning platforms. So these are classrooms that you can go for, and they are, sometimes they cost money, sometimes they're free, and they're about topics you're interested in. So if you're interested in something like cooking, then maybe you can take some English cooking classes on one of these platforms. Skillshare and Masterclass are both paid subscriptions, so you have to pay every month, and I think they're pretty expensive, but they do have some trial periods, so you can do 2 months free, I think, on them. So if you want to try them out, you can sign up and just make sure that you cancel before the 2 months is up. Coursera and X both have edX, both have free classes. So that means you do not get a certificate. you're just learning to learn. And they have ESL classes on there. You want to learn a different language through English. You want to learn cooking. You want to learn art. It's all on there.
Just to add on a little bit, for the master class, I think you got 7-day trial, like for
Only
free.
7 days. Okay.
Way. And it costs about $200 a year, and you need to pay it like once upfront.
Okay.
Yes, for EDX and Coursera, they have some extra things like you can actually pay a little bit more to get the certificates upon the completion. And also lots of universities like Harvard, MIT, University of Cambridge, Oxford, they actually provide open classes all for free. So feel free to check it out.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, they're another option, right? If your English is very high too, you can learn another skill. Okay. So my final tips: make mistakes, make a lot of mistakes.
Honest.
I know a lot of students are scared to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain learns from mistakes and you remember, oh, like I made that mistake last time, I need to remember. So don't be scared, just make mistakes. That's part of learning language. If you have children, you'll notice your children make mistakes when they speak your language.
That's how they
and
learn.
Correct them. Yeah, and you have to correct them. That's how they learn. Exactly. Find a way to learn English that you enjoy, that fits into your life. So find some way to learn English, but don't go try to do 10 hours a day of studying English if you don't enjoy what you're doing. That you won't learn as quickly. Take advantage of the many free resources in class in Alberta. Yeah, and they're online. Most of them are online right now, but there's tons. There's so many resources, right? So they're everywhere. They're there to help you. You'll learn quicker if the English is meaningful to you. So study something you enjoy. So if you like music, studying music will help you learn faster. If you like cooking, learn about cooking, right? If you like medical dramas like Grey's Anatomy, then watch Grey's Anatomy and you'll learn more about medical things. Also know why you're studying English. What's your motivation? Why are you studying it? Do you intend to just get to a level 4 and then be finished? How far are you willing to go? Small, consistent goals and actions equal big results. So doing a little bit, 15 minutes a day, and making sure it's really meaningful and that you're focusing on it will have big results. And I, like Emily, added this, I think. Start today. Start where you are. Where you are. With what you have, just start and don't stop. Yeah, so just start. And don't get down. If you say you're going to study 15 minutes every day and it's been 3 weeks and I haven't studied, that's okay. Be kind to yourself and realize that sometimes you're just going to be too busy or too tired, and that's okay. And you can just pick up next time, right? Yeah. Okay. And yeah, so we do have some resources about ESL things and English resources we have at ISC, and I will put them into the chat after this.
Thank you. And on the on the Instagram, the ISCYYC account.
Oh yeah, join our Instagram. Join our Instagram to see tips about testing and also just general things about our organization. Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts or anything?
Just once again, just start today with what you have and make a plan, a detailed, practical, and measurable plan. And then acknowledge your efforts, clap for yourself, and reward yourself once you've accomplished that task or that goal for that day. I think a year like this really just drives the reality that we need to be connected more than ever. So to make sure we make use of every day in the best possible way. So let us know if you need any help, and knowing that we're here for you.
Exactly, that's good. We are here for you, and we can help you learn English or whatever services you need. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you everyone so much for tuning in. If you just watched a little bit, I hope you got something from this video about learning English. And I hope that you'll be kinder to yourself as you learn English, and stay safe. We'll see you later.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.